Catherine Casey. Hello, Catherine Casey. Um, I would like to know what people feel about what they eat in the summer. Do you change your diet drastically? Do you look forward to certain foods? Are you concerned about how you eat in the summer? Do you feel more confident when you eat in the summer because there's so much fresh produce and things like that? What does summer mean to you when it comes to food? And, just feel free to type in the chat as you have comments as we go through this. All right. So, I'll get started. I'm going to bring up the screen, the slides that I have, and then that way it's going to behave, or maybe it won't behave. It's not letting me bring up the slides. Isn't that interesting? I practiced this afternoon. This is what I meant if you got my email that I sent out to my list. My issues with technology is legendary. I'm just going to do something here. There we go. And now go back to, let's see if that fixed it. All right, screen share. There we go. Share. Okay. And I can just do slideshow. And now it would be helpful if I had this at the beginning of the slides. There we go. All right. So what we're talking about is um, summer foods and what we need to think about when we are trying to support our gut. And there are ways to get more from the food that we eat. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. I'm afraid I can't see the chat from here, which is not going to be helpful unless somebody knows something that I don't know, which you couldn't tell me because I can't see the chat. All right, so I'm just going to proceed and I will see. Normally, you can check back in to see what's happening. Maybe something will pop up on the screen. I don't really know. As I said, this is the first time I'm doing this through Substack. So I will just continue here. All right. So the reason I'm doing this particular live Substack is because this is the time of the month that I promote the Digester's Gut System. I will talk about that program at the end of this. If that's not of interest to you, you'll have heard all the other information, so you can check out if you like. So let me just start with this. Summer's here. Yay! And for most of us, this is a time for a change, right? We're going to do different activities. We're going to eat possibly different foods. Most of us look forward to this time of year and all that it brings. Hopefully, not too much hot weather, but just enough so that it's pleasant and lovely. But the basic thing that we do is we are out and about more in the summer, usually socializing more, which means we're going to be going to different events where food is served, or we're bringing foods to the events, or maybe we're hosting people at our house. And so, thinking about how we construct recipes and what they can do for us can help us support our gut while we go through this. There's nothing inherently wrong with the summer when it comes to a gut perspective. But um, it's interesting that we make changes just because of the time of year or in as to how we do things, who we socialize with, etc. Okay, so if you know me at all, you know that I am obsessed with feeding the gut, and there's a big reason for this. Of course, everything that they're connecting now to health issues and therefore also health prevention is connected to the microbes in our gut. And what we have not been taught, and I wish we had been taught, I wish this was common knowledge, is how we feed our microbes and what that means for us from a health perspective. And unfortunately, most of us do not know this. I spent 6 hours last week at a health fair talking to consumers about different nutrition questions they had. And they really know very little about the gut. They know it's something that is important. They know it could be something they have issues with. And they know that probiotics may help it. That's all they know. They don't really know the circumstances of the probiotics and what needs to be present for it to help. Like, they don't know any of that. So I was kind of impressed that most of them don't eat a lot of garbage in terms of food, but again, they're coming it's a health fair, and the people who would come to speak to a nutritionist would possibly, have an interest in nutrition. So I was pleasantly surprised by that. But there was a definite lack of knowledge as to what the gut requires and what the microbes do and that sort of thing. And this is something I think we should all be taught. I think now that we know it, I think everybody should know it. We've wasted a lot of time focusing on eating and not eating foods. We eat some because we think we should. We don't eat others because we think we shouldn't. And now, of course, we know how microbes use our food to help or hurt us. Um, so why wouldn't we have this as a focus? Why wouldn't we focus on, what the gut wants, what the microbes want? And when I say hurt us, I don't mean that microbes are directly hurting us. Sometimes it's what they produce that are problematic for us. And they come from specific species, whereas other species are producing good things for us. And that's the health part. So there's a lot of misinformation that we've had in the past. It can go away now. And it's going to give us more freedom with our food. I really wish I could see the chat. I don't know why I can't see the chat. Oh, there's the chat. Okay. And there's nobody talking in it, so I don't have to worry. Okay. Let me go back here. Okay. So, as you know, for decades now, there's been a lot of, arguing back and forth about what we should eat or what we shouldn't eat. You may have heard some people talking about grilling being dangerous. We're going to talk about that tonight. We are going to talk about whether fermented foods are healthy. I'll give you the short answer. Yes, they are, but we're going to talk about where they can play a really significant role. Um, a lot of times people are still debating whether they should avoid carbs. No, you shouldn't. And is red meat bad? No, it's not. Everything has a purpose. Everything has benefits. It's how we eat it and how much we eat of a specific food and what kind of balance do we have in our diet. And the other thing we need to understand, and this is where the gut comes into it, the food doesn't act alone. It's not like we eat the food, it goes down into our system, and we um, you just take the value of the food into our body and that's it. No, the food elements in the food go into the gut, microbes act upon it and create metabolites. And assuming they're beneficial bacteria, they will produce beneficial metabolites that we can use for very important things inside our body. And this includes things like short chain fatty acids that help regulate inflammation. They do a bunch of other things for us. It includes neurotransmitters, includes certain vitamins and minerals. Um, and so it's really important that we understand that we get better utilization of our food if we have the right microbes for the right foods. So specific microbes help specific foods. So, what food does inside the body depends partly on the microbes that interact with it. And if we don't understand what microbes are for, we can't fully understand what food is doing. So, I want to talk about grilling because this is probably the thing that most people associate with summer foods. And yes, if someone is a diehard griller, I know they grill fall, spring, winter, summer. It doesn't really matter. It depends, on their circumstances and how accessible the grill is in winter. I know a lot of people who will pop out there in the dead of winter and throw something on the grill, but for most of us, we associate it with summer. And unfortunately, there are schools of thought out there that tell us that grilling is bad, in particular because of compounds that can form on the food due to the fact that we're grilling. And so we're going to talk about that because as you're going to see, that information, that negative information has been taken out of context, and we're going to put it back into the food and the way we eat and how we prepare things to grill them. So the three concerns are the first one is heterocyclic amines or HCAs. This is formed when meats are cooked at high temperature, especially when charred. They result in a reaction between creatine, amino acids, and heat, and HCAs are considered possible carcinogens. Another possible carcinogen is polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, or PAHs. They're created when fat or juices drip onto flames, causing smoke that deposit the PAHs on foods. Both meats and vegetables can be exposed to this if there's heavy smoke or flare-ups. You know what a flare-up is? That's when the 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 underneath part, just there's a flame. Usually something hits the um, if it's a gas grill, hits the pipes below and cause a flame, or it hits the charcoal or whatever. And the third thing is acrylamide, and this would only apply to starchy plant foods like potatoes. That when browned or overcooked, they can form something called acrylamide. Again, also been considered a carcinogen. It's less common in grilled vegetables unless they're heavily charred. So when we look at these three and we look at the information and where it came from, it comes from what I call not really good studies. So they take some HCAs, they study them to find out if they are potentially carcinogenic. They are doing this outside of the food, they're doing it away from the meal, the recipe, other things that may be present. The HCAs are found in the dark grill strips, and so, that's all they look at. And the same with the PAWs and the same with the acrylamide. So they're looking at them for their carcinogenic potential based on specific circumstances that do not reflect what we do when we eat the food. And so, what we want to do now is put this back into a proper context. So, I'm going to give you first the conventional perspective as to how you lower HCAs and PAWs. You would do lean cuts and trim fat. Now, I don't know about you, but that may not make the food as tasty as we would like. So, again, but this is just what they're saying. Um, Using indirect heat or lower temperatures, again, that may affect the final food product so that it is not as tender and juicy the way we expect it to be. They could also say you can flip often and avoid the charring. Don't know what that might do to the overall texture either. I don't think that one is as problematic. And then this is my favorite, pre-cook meats and finish them on the grill. Again, I'm not a big griller. My understanding is the reason people like it so much is that because it saves time, because you just take the meat and you throw it on the grill. If you have to pre-cook it, it's kinda like wanting to just cook it and get the grill altogether. Now, grilling also has benefits, so it can help maintain B vitamins and minerals, it can intensify flavor, and it can improve texture, it helps keep the juices in, and it can increase antioxidants, which is very important for overall health and long-term health, which we'll talk a little bit about later. So there's also other things that grilling can do for food. So it reduces cooking time while keeping flavor and nutrients intact. I think that's why people like it a lot. It enhances protein digestibility. So high heat breaks down connective tissue, making meats easier to chew and digest. It can soften plant fibers. So, a lot of people, despite their intentions to eat more vegetables, have trouble, especially when the vegetables are raw. And so, if you grill the vegetables, it can be gentler on the gut. Plus, I just want to say as well, if you have trouble with raw fibers, it is a microbe issue in your gut. You don't have the right proportion of microbes that will digest the particular fibers that you have problems with. So one of the things you can do is grill the vegetables and get them into you in a much more comfortable way. And the other thing they can do, and this is the most fascinating thing to me, is increase the bioavailability of some of the phytonutrients that are found in foods. For example, um, lycopene that's found in tomatoes, or beta carotene that's in like carrots or peppers. So it makes those more available for the body to use. Plus, it increases the antioxidants. Lycopene is also an antioxidant, so is beta carotene. It goes up in the food when it's heated, which is a really fascinating thing. That's one of the most fascinating things. that there's more to what the food can do for us when we cook it. Because there's a school of thought out there that says, well, you lose all these different things when you cook foods, but you also gain other things when you cook them as well. So it's kind of win win. You can eat raw foods, you can eat cooked foods, and you can get a lot of benefit from both. Now, the big thing for grilling is the use of rubs and marinades and using it as protection for what I was just talking about with the HCAs and the PAWs. They could even help with the acrylamide, but it's something we're less likely to marinate. Like if we were doing, well, we might marinate grilled potatoes, but we wouldn't necessarily put a marinade on our flatbreads if we just wanted to quickly warm them up and grill them, or even cook a pizza on the grill, which some people do. So what we need to know is there's many spices and herbs that help lower HCAs and help detoxify out PAWs. So things like rosemary and turmeric and garlic have been studied and found that up to 90% or fewer HCAs are present whether if the person has used some of these as part of the rub or put it into the marinade. When you're using marinades, they form a barrier and they cool the surface. So this helps protect how much charring is going to occur. And a marinade should always be an acid and an oil plus herbs. It could be lemon, olive oil, thyme. If that doesn't appeal to you, just what does appeal to you? What herbs do you like? What acid, like what kind of vinegars do you like? There are different oils that you like. So all of these can be made to the taste of the person and therefore improve the quality of what you're eating. You can also add sugary sauces after cooking. So if you're doing something like barbecue, you just want to brush the barbecue sauce on at close to the end because otherwise it burns easily with the higher heat. So that's what you want to do with that. Now, if you want to grill starches safely, so this is going to reduce the acrylamides in potatoes and breads. You can parboil or steam the potatoes first, let them cool. Now, this has another added benefit in that when you cook a potato and then let it cool, it forms something called resistant starch, which is a type of fiber that feeds very specific beneficial bacteria in the gut and is something you want to get more of. So, you always want to, anytime you can heat your potatoes and cool them, this is good. You can still reheat them afterwards if you like. So in this case, we would throw them on the grill, just finish it off to give it some flavor. Um, you could also marinate these after you've parboiled them or steamed them for even more protection and more flavor. You can it's whatever you want to do. You can use a lemon juice and vinegar in the marinades, of course, and you can grill to golden and not char them. And so that's easy with potatoes. With breads, of course, they're cooked. They're already cooked. They've already been baked. They've been heated. They've been cooled. They already have their resistant starch. So now you can just, um, you know, lightly put some grill marks on them and get the flavor you're looking for and warm them up. Now, there are lots of herbs and spices, as I said, rosemary, thyme, oregano, turmeric, garlic. Something really nice to stick in a marinade would be wine for the wine polyphenols, which are really good for you in many ways, including they also help in your gut as well. So there's lots of flavor opportunities for doing this and protecting the food at the same time. And then there's something called the Maillard reaction, which in most circumstances is a good thing. So it's a browning from heat and protein and sugar, and it creates not only flavor and aroma, but also antioxidant compounds like melanodins and reductones. So this is going to help neutralize free radicals. So when you have oxidative stress, you have too many free radicals that are damaging cells. And if you don't counter them with antioxidants, then you now have damaged cells. And if they reproduce, you now have some kind of mutation. So oxidative stress is a really important topic. It comes up a lot in longevity discussions or degenerative illnesses, why the body does, chronic inflammation. All these things have an oxidative stress component to it. And so, anytime we can protect cells from oxidative stress, this is a good thing. So when you have the Maillard reaction occurring, you're going to have more antioxidant compounds produced. Now, grilling can enhance the Maillard reactions, particularly in meats and vegetables. And some antioxidant activity will actually increase after grilling, as I discussed just previously. So there's a balance that must be achieved. If you have too much of the Maillard reaction, it can also form the HCAs and acrylamide, depending on what food's being heated. So using herbs and acid-based marinades moderate heat and avoid overcharring. So you get the benefits of the Maillard reaction, and you're not getting the excessive charring. It's kind of interesting, don't you think, that these cooking techniques change and alter the foods we're eating to the degree that we are getting more benefits from them? That always fascinates me. A lot of these techniques came from our ancestors. They knew better than we know how to eat. And so a lot of these techniques that we use have other purposes that are good for us. And we shouldn't just see it as just cooking. Now, the grill, of course, isn't the whole story. So we just talked about how you can make better choices when you're cooking on the grill that are going to be beneficial to the person, including their gut. But we need to talk about the gut too. So when you have these compounds created by heat, you now have to think about what does the body do? And the body has a way to deal with them. The story isn't over once something comes off the grill or out of the oven or off the stove. That's not the end of the story. So different microbes help in different ways. And this is the part that people, if you take nothing else away from this, is that we need a variety of microbes to do different jobs for us, and it's not just about how we use our foods and how we handle things that have been grilled or cooked or anything like that. It's a much, much bigger topic because there's many things the microbes do. But the concept that you can't just function on a small number of microbes is something we have to understand. Some people think that when they take probiotics, they're doing something really good for their gut. Well, they're not hurting their gut, but there's so few strains in the microbiotics that you're really not doing what the gut really needs. Whatever those strains do will help while they're there, but they're not helping the whole picture. And the only way we can help the whole picture is to eat a variety of foods. So then that becomes the issue. How do we have a variety of foods? We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. So, anyway, you have different microbes helping in different ways. And some of these microbes will bind compounds, so say the PAWs or the HCA compounds or the acrylamide. Some other ones will break them down so that you can just excrete them. Some will support the gut lining if some of these compounds, and when I'm saying these compounds, I'm not just mean the ones from grilling. I mean anything that is not helpful to you, any toxin from any source. Could be, some kind of residue, pesticide residue on your food. It could be, any kind of toxin. It will help support the gut lining so it doesn't get damaged. And of course, it'll help manage oxidative stress, which I just was talking about how important that is. So different microbes can different contribute in different ways. Now, what is the role of fermented foods in this? So I was just mentioning the probiotics and what they can do and can't do. So fermented foods kind of fall into the same category in one regard because they're containing probiotics, but that's not all they are. So what fermented foods can do is bind and reduce HCAs, PAWs, and acrylamide during digestion. So again, that's separate from the microbes that you have in your gut that could also be doing this. And of course, you don't know if you have enough of those microbes in your gut, but that doesn't stop you from adding a fermented food to what you're eating to help out because you really don't know if you have enough, right? They produce detoxifying metabolites. So while they're fermenting before you eat them, they've produced these metabolites, which will now help you remove any toxins that could be present. They can alleviate oxidative stress caused by toxins. So that's a lot of really good things. And that's not all fermented foods do, but that in the context of what we're discussing, that's what they do. So it's important to understand that the probiotics, whether they're coming from a capsule or they're coming from fermented foods, they are transient. They're not staying in your colon. They're not going to colonize. They're not going to fix your problem, but they can help you while they are there. So this is what these fermented foods are doing. They're acting during the gut transit, as things are going through the GI tract. And you don't need long-term colonization to benefit from the fermented foods. Does mean you would have to continually have them, which is not a bad thing. There's other benefits to them as well, but they are very good for helping you reduce any kind of toxin-related issues you might have as a result of the foods. And then I wanted to make a case for salad dressing, and it's important because this is another area where we can add different things to improve how our gut likes them, how they help our food be digested. So when we come to summer foods, the most common thing served with grilled anything, whether it's grilled vegetables or grilled meats or whatever, is salads. There are all kinds of salads that are very common. Some of them are horrific, like the ones made out of jello and marshmallows, but I haven't seen one of those in years. But, something like the potato salad is a fantastic food, especially if you're trying to support gut health, to serve with any kind of grilled foods. Potato salad is fine whether you're serving it with non-grilled foods. Potatoes, as we mentioned, because they're cooked and cooled, have the resistant starch in them. Plus, you can add other ingredients to make them even more diverse for the gut. Plus, now you can add the salad dressing. So, what you add as a salad dressing can have even more benefits. So, one of the things that the dressing does is enhance nutrient absorption and digestive signaling. Um, it can also help with your digestive process. So the acids that are generally in every salad dressing, like vinegar or citrus, may help stimulate stomach acid production and aid protein digestion. This is why a salad is really good with a meal. And then fats like olive oil support the absorption of fat soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. So there's a lot to be said for the salad dressing. And then, of course, there's the herbs and spices you can add, which also have other benefits for you. Plus, they are good for the gut as well. And then you can add things like fermented foods like miso or yogurt or kefir. These are commonly added into salad dressings. So it can contribute some enzymes and other beneficial microbes. So there's a lot to be said for the salad dressing and how they aid what what the salad is, what's in the salad as well. So the dressing may be the most underrated digestive support. So while raw and cooked components have structural and microbial benefits, the dressing often plays the most direct role in enhancing digestion by triggering digestive secretions, aiding nutrient absorption, and supporting microbes if it includes fermented and prebiotic rich elements. So again, just a simple salad with several ingredients and a good dressing can be an excellent food for the gut to go with whatever else you're serving in the meal. So the diversity is the key to all of this. The more diversity of different types of foods, herbs and spices, the better it is for feeding different micro families. So on that note, I want to give you a quick little demonstration. And so this is something you could serve at an event or take any one of these dishes to somewhere you're going. But we're going to look at the three of them from a diversity perspective. So it's a mango red cabbage slaw, a grilled eggplant and red peppers. Again, these are just simple, common things that you might see at anywhere you go, any kind of picnic or event or dinner party that you go to. And then in this case, I chose grilled chicken kafkas kebabs with mint yogurt dip. Now, it could be some other meat, could have some other sauce on it. The principle will be the same as I'm about to show you. So these are diagrams that I've done that show you what each of these do for diversity. So I hope you can see this clearly. You have all the green little circles are the actual ingredients in the recipe. You can see the mango there and the red cabbage. So this is obviously the mango, red cabbage sloths, carrots, avocado. Okay. Then the blue are the different areas of gut bacteria that are fed from this salad. You got the lactobacillus, you got the Bacillium bacteria, the bifidobacterium, you got Akkermansia down here, you've got butyrate producers. So butyrate is a short chain fatty acid that I mentioned earlier. You've got things for anti-inflammatory support, things that inhibit pathogens. Okay. So you can see this is pretty good, right? This is one recipe. You've got a number of different ingredients, and they're all doing something to help with gut health. This is the chicken kafka kebabs, okay, and it's a little more complex because it also has the yogurt dip, and there's a number of things that went into the kebabs. But again, you can see all the food ingredients here in green, and then you can see all the benefits to the gut, right? This is again one recipe. And then this is the eggplant and red bell peppers that have been grilled. And there was some red onion in there and olive oil and some lemon and garlic and mint. And okay, there's a bunch of things going on here. You can also use the yogurt dip on this as well. And again, you see the different species that are being fed and the benefits to the gut. All right. Now, what happens when you eat all three recipes in one meal, which is what that was designed to do? So this is what it looks like when you put it all together. So this is one meal. Look at the diversity that is available because of how you made the recipes, the fact that all the ingredients in the recipes did something for the gut somewhere, and you've got all these different species that are being supported as a result of this one meal. Now imagine if all your meals were like this. And I'm not saying anybody should have to eat all their meals like this. They shouldn't. You don't have to be perfect in any way, shape, or form. But if you're aware of what a recipe can be and what the diversity in a recipe can mean, it should be helpful in helping you plan what you are doing. Okay, so on that note, I'm just going to quickly stop sharing so that I can see if anything's going on with you guys. Um, Anybody have any comments that they would like to share? That was basically what I wanted to share with you tonight. I am going to talk a little bit about the program, but I thought I'd see if anybody had any questions or they want to talk about anything before I go back to doing that. It's very short. You want to hear about the program, just stick by and then we can get into it. I don't see anybody here chatting. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Um, all right. I will go back and finish off just talking about the program quickly. All right. Okay. So this month, for the next 4 days, I'm promoting the Digester's Gut System. This is a food-based program. If you want to increase the diversity in your diet, this is how you'll do it. It's flexible and works with any style of eating. It's easy to implement. It includes lifestyle considerations to provide the full gut picture because I don't believe we should just focus on food. Food is important. I have to say this because it's really the thing that we have to remember. We're going to be hearing so much about the gut microbiome, what's good, what's bad, what diseases evolve because of our gut microbiome not being ideal, how we prevent that by eating different foods and doing different things, but they don't have any standard thing that we can do. The only thing we can do is to do what we know nature gave us to do. So nature gave us food to eat. Nature tells us to get enough sleep. Nature tells us to not be too stressed. Well, it doesn't tell us, but we should know that. And we also know that we need to move and exercise and have a happy mindset. All of these things affect the gut. So if we want to wait around until they come up with anything concrete, we will be waiting a very long time. The microbiome is way, way too complicated. But that doesn't stop us from doing the things we know how to do right now. And it doesn't matter what they come up with. It still comes back to we have to eat the foods that feed the microbes, and then we have to do the lifestyle things that help support good microbial health. A lot of people don't realize if you're super stressed, it decreases the amount of good bacteria that you have in your gut. It's just what it does. So, again, these are things we need to know. So, this program is what I wish people could know about the gut in the simplest way I could create it. So what's inside it? Well, there's 8 sessions, and the first is just to introduce you to gut health and understand how microbes connect to every body system. There's a lot of digestive suggestions in that session. In the second session, there's a food layering and microbial synergy. So this is how to combine foods that support the maximum microbial cooperation. Yes, they cooperate with each other. And the goal here is to have a wide variety without driving yourself crazy. So, the food layering technique is a really simple way to add in foods you may not be getting enough of, at the same time, having a recognition that you are eating a number of foods that are really good for you. Then in session 3, we talk about microdosing. So, a lot of times when people are introducing new foods that they don't eat on a regular basis, they have some digestive issues. Well, the problem is they're putting in too much too soon. If the microbes are not there or there's not enough of them for that particular food that you're introducing, you may have some symptoms. So you microdose the foods, you put in small amounts and then gradually increase it to a portion size. You can also do this for food sensitivities. So if you want to get your food sensitivities back so that you're not, constantly bloating or having other digestive distress because you ate a food that doesn't agree with you, again, microdosing can help you do that. In session 4, we talk about menu planning and how to create balanced meals that fit your life and taste. And then in session 5, we talk about stress, cortisol, and gut health. So explaining the gut brain connection and lower inflammation. In session 6, we talk about sleep in the gut. So you reset your circadian rhythm to support repair throughout the body, but especially in the gut. Section 7 is exercise and gut health, so how it helps improve diversity and metabolism through movement. And then we have mindset and how to maintain long microbial balance or long-term microbial balance. Having a positive outlook in life, having the chemicals in the brain sending the positive information through the body to the gut. It's a really important concept, but that's what it is. And there's practical suggestions in each session, simple things to do that can help you with each and every one of these topics. You do it at your own pace. It's not complicated. There's not a lot of technical stuff. It's just a simple thing. You go through each session as you see fit and then make changes that you think are right for you. And so it's going to provide you with the full picture so you understand what the gut needs and how it helps. Plus, it includes simple action steps. And it includes recipe guides, food layering checklist, a microdosing tracker. The action steps, as I mentioned, are all very practical and simple to do. A private Facebook group, gentle gut habit templates, and optional printable planners. So if you want to plan your menu plan, you can print out a planner and just plot it on there as you see fit. Again, you should do your own menu plans. Why? There's menu plans in some of the recipe booklets that I have. They're all bonuses for the programs. But in the end, you're only going to follow the menu plan you create yourself. That's just the way it works. So if you've learned what it is you need to do, what you need to add to what you're currently eating, you don't have to make wholesale changes to everything you're doing. You're just adding new information and therefore new foods. You're increasing your diversity and you're getting a better result from your food. Plus, for this promotion only, I'm giving away this ebook, The Complete Guide to Grilling for the Gut. So this goes in deeper into the topics we've discussed tonight. It's a 70-page ebook. It's a really, really good book. It includes recipes, and in each recipe, there's a breakdown of the ingredients and what gut benefits each ingredient has. So what this allows you to do is pick recipes. And by the way, the recipe for the mango slaw and the grilled vegetables and the kafta kebabs is in the ebook as well. What it allows you to do is as you're creating these recipes or trying these recipes, you're learning what the different ingredients do. And therefore, you can easily apply that new information to other recipes, maybe that you already make or other recipes you want to try. It's a really good way to get a better understanding how a recipe can be very good for diversity. There's also a number of other ebooks, as I mentioned. You've got the recipe guides, you've got a microbial food synergy. So, this explains all the concepts about the food layering and the microdosing and such. There's another one for GLP-1 signals and what that means as a result of digestion and the gut. And then, of course, if you don't know anything about the gut, there's an understanding of the basics of gut health. So, there's a lot of information in this program if you're interested. Oh, sorry, and there's one on the vagus nerve as well. I missed that one. Um, so it's 297 and it's Canadian dollars or 2 easy pays, or it's 497 if you want a consulting session with me. Again, maybe you have some issues you want to discuss. You can see there's easy pay options. And 997 for 4 sessions with me plus the program. So these all include the program. And again, this is only if you felt you needed it because you have some health issues. Otherwise, this program in itself is self-explanatory, or it's easy to understand, and you'll have no trouble following it whatsoever. There is a 7-day money-back guarantee. It's hiding behind here. There it is. And that's about all there is to it. If you're interested, you can click this QR code and somewhere I can get back to the chat. Um, oh, Andrea says, I arrived late, but the meals look scrumptious. Thank you, Andrea. You don't see any slides about the program. Did nobody see any slides? Did I not screen share properly? Probably, knowing me. There you go. All right. Now I can go back to the chat. Um, Let me just go back up here. See, I knew I'd do something technically I wasn't supposed to do. There we go. So that was the payment slide. These are the different ebooks that you get, plus the grilling for the gut and all the things that come with the program, and what's in the gut system as well. So, I guess I said it's what I wanted people to understand and I felt would be the most helpful. That's how you need to know the foundation. You need to have a foundation in your gut health examples. And so it makes it easier for you to make the right food choices, the right lifestyle choices, etc. All right. Now, see, now I lost that nice little window that allows me to go back to the chat. See, this is what happens when you use new technology. Now I gotta find you guys. Where are you? There you are. Okay. Oh, there's Bunny. Hi, Bunny. That's better. Thanks. I know that was kind of the fast version, but at least you heard me, I hope. And yeah. Um, if you want the direct link and not the QR code, I'm going to just quickly put it in the chat. There you go. That should work, right? Yeah, it does. Okay. So this is what you do when you have new technologies. You look at different things and just try to wing it. All right. Are there any other questions? You've been very quiet. I'm glad you joined. I didn't know what was going to happen when I sent this out today. I just thought of doing this, I think, on Friday, and I was going to try and make it more technical than I did. And then I just finally went with this is what you can do on Substack. I don't know how many of you are, some of you I know are on Substack, so you know Substack well. You probably know Substack Lives well, but it's just another way of communicating directly with people, which I think is like a good thing. I always think that's a good thing. All right. If any, are there any other questions? Because if they're not, then we are done. And I'm really glad you could join me. I'm going to be promoting the program until Thursday. If you are on my email list, you will get some notifications about it, but I will send the replay out to my Substack list and to my regular list, and we'll just see what happens. So I'm really glad you could join me, and yeah, have a lovely, lovely evening.